Welcome to the Arthur Moats Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Arthur Moats Show. And today, we have history being made. We have the one and only, McKeesport native, Carnegie Mellon University graduate, actor, director, producer. You might recognize her from her time on Law & Order Special Victims Unit as Dr. Melinda Warner, or from the movie Flight, also in the movie The Devil's Advocate, the one and only, the lovely Miss Tamara Tunie. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Arthur. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being on. You know, you're my birthday twin.
I know. How about that?
Yes.
March 14th.
I
Give it
like
up for the
it.
Pisces.
Yes,
Indeed. I have to just make one little correction. I was born in McKeesport, but I grew up in Homestead.
Ooh, okay.
So I have to give the shout out.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely no Homestead.
And, you know, Charlie Batch is my guy.
Oh, see, that's the man. You know, he's running things in Pittsburgh.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so let's hop into it.
Okay.
So what inspired you to become an actress?
Oh, wow. I've always, since I was a little kid, I would perform, I would do school plays, and I sang in the choir, and I took dance classes, ballet and jazz, for fun.
Yeah.
I wasn't really thinking at that time that it was even possible to be an actor, But when I got in high school and I was still singing and...
a soprano, right?
A mezzo-soprano, to be exact.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Because I got something coming up that I would love to share with you. But, so, I always did that. But I was also, I was also into maths and sciences, too. And for the longest time through school, I thought I'd go into medicine. Yeah. I had fantasies about being a doctor, which kind of worked out. Yeah, it kind of worked out. But my senior year of high school, I just realized that I've always, loved being in the arts. I always loved performing, and people were always responded positively, when I was singing or when I was in a play, and it seemed to make people happy and move them in a way. So my senior year, I decided, I think I want to see if it's possible. Yeah. And then, of course, Carnegie Mellon University is right here in Pittsburgh. And it had one of the finest drama schools in the country, and still does. It's even more fantastic than it was when I was there, And so I just decided I was going to audition for CMU, and it was the first year of their musical theater program.
Oh, wow.
Well, actually, it was the second year. They had done 1 year. And so, I was very comfortable singing and dancing. So I said, well, I'll audition for that and see what happens. Okay. And, fortunately, I was accepted. I did 4 years and got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Musical Theater. And the wonderful thing was, I was studying acting, but I was also studying music and dance. So it was almost like a triple major as opposed to, just one thing. And I think that really kind of equipped me to go to New York and be able to start, working in some capacity, because I could do 3 different things as opposed to one thing.
Threat, man.
Triple threat. Indeed. You know the language.
Yes. So what were some of your biggest challenges, in becoming an actress and just transitioning into that field?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it's a difficult field to begin with, right? I mean, it's challenging. There are a lot of, there's a lot of competition. Right. There are a lot of really talented people. And there are a limited amount of jobs. I mean, fortunately, in these last 10 years or so, because of, the different kind of media streams that have evolved, like the Netflix and the Amazons. And, we're not solely dependent on network television anymore for TV stuff or film stuff even. So that kind of opened things up, But in the beginning, I mean, it was just, just challenging just getting a job, because I moved to New York and, I was equipped, but I was young. And so, of course, I had to have a survival job, A lot of actors wait tables. I don't.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay.
That's not my thing, what I mean? But I did know how to type pretty well. Okay. So I could do office work. Okay. So I did a lot of temping in offices when I was first in New York City. Yeah. And I would get a job here and a job there, a lot of musicals and stuff in the beginning. Okay. Which was great, because that's what I trained for. But, I really wanted to do some classical acting, some Shakespeare and some Chekhov and the things that I did in college, that I was trained to do.
Right.
And I found myself being pigeonholed as a singer, dancer.
All right.
And like acting was like the third thing.
Okay.
But for me, acting was the first thing.
Right.
So at one point, after being in New York about 6 years or so, I decided, you know what, I need to just focus on acting.
Okay.
So I stopped doing musicals. And then things opened up.
Yeah.
And As the World Turns happened.
Yes.
And then a lot of other things like NYPD Blue and da-da-da. And then, of course, Law and Order came a little later.
I like that. Well, speaking on your illustrious career, after all the success that you've had, what keeps you going? What makes you still want to go out there and perform right now?
I love what I do. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about what I do, and you understand that passion as a professional athlete. Fortunately, you and I had been able to translate what we loved into a career.
Very true.
It's
rare.
It's very rare. And, I consider myself blessed, as I'm sure you do too.
Yes, indeed.
I love performing. I love particularly live theater. I love doing film and television as well.
Okay.
And they pay more, which is a good thing. But the theater is just the most gratifying. I mean, because the audience is right there.
Right.
They're on this journey with you. They're going along with this story with you. You're able to tell this story. And also for actors, the theater is the medium in which we have the most control of our performance.
Gotcha.
Because with film and television, you shoot it.
Right.
And you shoot multiple takes of it for different reasons. Some technical things may happen.
Right.
You may flub a line or you may not have to, whatever. But then the director and the editor goes in the studio and they craft the performance. They craft the story. So there might be, a take that I did of a scene that I thought was really great as far as I was concerned.
Right.
But, there might have been something technically that happened where the boom dropped into the shot or and so they can't use that take. But when I'm doing theater, from the time the lights come up on the stage, it's live action.
Yes, indeed.
And from that moment till the end of the play, it's me, it's mine, me and my fellow actors.
Right.
But we're in control and we're telling the story and we're taking the audience with us on this trip. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you touched a little bit about your time, doing stand-in TV shows and stuff like that. Obviously, everybody's a big fan of your work with Law and Order SVU. So just tell us about your time with that. What was that like being a part of that franchise?
It's fantastic. I mean, I call Dick Wolf the Emperor.
I feel like he's on everything.
I know. And now he's putting his stamp in Chicago with all this. But yeah, it's extraordinary to be a part of the Law and Order family. And I think all of the actors who have rotated on and off all three different Law and Orders, actually 4 because they tried a Law and Order LA.
Yeah, I understand that.
And I think everybody feels like part of a fraternity in a way, where
I don't know the SVU over
everybody,
here.
you know what I mean? And it's so great because if you go to any Broadway show and you look at the credits on the bios of the people who are in the Broadway show, inevitably, probably most of them have done an episode of Law and Order. You know what I mean?
I like that.
So it's great, and it really feels like, and particularly my show, the actors on my show, we were pretty tight. We were pretty tight, really supportive of each other. And, I remained very close with Chris Maloney and his wife and family. So, it's been special.
Nice. So is that common to be a part of a franchise that long and be able to have personal relationships with people outside of the show?
It happens. I think it happens a lot. I don't think it happens, with everybody in the cast, but I think inevitably, you get together and you meet and you work together and you become sort of a family for an extended period of time. And I think inevitably, somebody leaves with a relationship that continues forward, even when the show is over. So, it's pretty special.
And now you talked a little bit about, your passion from a medical standpoint, right? You initially said you wanted to get into that, and you play the role of a medical examiner on Law and Order. So what was that like in your preparation? Did you have to rely on, what I learned in school potentially about being a medical examiner?
Thank you so much for asking that, because I have two comments on that. One, As you said, I didn't become a doctor, but I play one on TV. But also playing the coroner, playing the medical examiner.
Yeah.
I grew up in a funeral home.
Wow.
Yeah, Tunie Funeral Home in
There we
Homestead.
go.
Yeah,
I
yes,
like that.
which is still, operating. My dad
Yeah.
passed 6 years ago,
Oh, sorry to hear
but
that.
his partner has moved forward with it, and my brother actually is the CEO of the funeral home, even though he lives in Tennessee.
Okay.
But yeah, so when I came to the job as medical examiner, I grew up around dead people, so so this was not that foreign for
Right.
me, you know what I mean? And being in a morgue, that was not that foreign for me either.
Okay.
So that was very comfortable. But when you ask about my education, I tell so many young people when they ask, if they want to be an actor, or, I'm like, you must do well in school.
Right.
You must pay attention to your studies. You must read everything. You must
Mm-hmm.
be educated, because my ninth grade biology,
Yeah.
I carried with me
Wow.
into the medical examiner's office on Law and Order Special Victims Unit. And so when I talk about the bones and the muscles and the organs,
Yeah.
et cetera, I knew that stuff from ninth grade biology, right?
I like that.
Now,
see, kids, pay attention. When you're in ninth grade biology, pay attention.
that's right, because you never know.
You're right.
You never know. And then,
Wow.
of course, I learned a lot, on the job. When I would get the scripts and see what I had to talk about, I would do research. I would go online and research it. I had, a medical dictionary, with me that, I consulted all the time. And also at that time, the executive producer of the show, one of them was a doctor, so I could consult with him as well. Yeah. So it's, it was great, and I learned a lot. And I remember one episode, I came in, and I had to talk about something, and I said whatever the word was, and blah blah blah. And so my good friend Chris Maloney decided he was going to correct me on what I had said, and we weren't that close at this time. And also, I remember I knew him from Oz too, so I was a little scared of him, but I turned to him and I was like, "Excuse me, but this is what it is, and this is why it is." And, don't play me because I do my research.
Yeah, you're professional, absolutely.
Check yourself.
Yes,
I'm a professional. And that's the other thing I tell kids, young people. I was like, you must be professional.
Right.
And you must be prepared.
Absolutely.
Do your work.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I tell people the same thing in my profession. Like
of
you
course.
said, if you don't, it shows.
And
if you want longevity, like think about your career. You have longevity. You might be able to get a year or two sneaking by like that, but if you want the illustrious careers, you have to put the work in. You
must
have to
put
do
the
it
work
every
in.
day.
That's absolutely right. I mean, how would it be if you show up game day and you have a practice all week?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's not going to end well for
It ain't going to happen.
Right. Not consistently, at least.
At least. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So just wrapping up about your time on Law and Order, what was one of your most fond memories?
Oh, wow. There are so many. I don't know. But, what I loved really was just kind of the cavalcade of real stars who came through that show. Like Robin Williams, God rest his soul. And, just so many brilliant, talented people. I remember an episode where Leslie Caron, who was a famous French actress who starred in American in Paris with Gene Kelly back in the day. And, she came onto the show and she played this older woman who had been attacked, years earlier, like 20, 30 years ago, and had never really dealt with and brought the attacker to justice, and just those kinds of people who came through the show were just brilliant. You know what I mean? I mean, I remember Kathy Moriarty, who was in Raging Bull, right?
Listen, your name is I'm like, wow.
Yeah, but I remember, when she came on the show, and I hadn't met her, I didn't know her prior to that, but I was sitting in my dressing room, and she walked by, and I glanced up. And she walked by, and then out of the corner of my eye, I saw her back up into the doorway, and so I looked over, and she said, "You're a huge talent, a huge talent. I love you. I love you." And I was just like, "Oh my God, it's Kathy Moriarty." So just stuff like that. It was great. It was great. And then, of course, when the incredible French actress Isabelle Huppert shot me on the show, and I had to save my own life. That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
I like that.
So yeah, I mean, just years of good stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've done TV shows, you've done Broadway plays, you've also done motion pictures, in the theaters and stuff like that.
Right.
Out of those three, what's your favorite to do?
Again, the theater.
The theater
It
aspect?
is.
Okay.
It is. Just because of that immediate connection to
Right.
the audience.
I like that.
And also, what I love about doing theater is, first of all, there's a rehearsal period. Before you get up on the stage,
Okay.
where you get time to really dig into the script and develop a character, and et cetera, et cetera. And you don't get that with film and television.
Right.
You kind of show up and do it. And you have to do most of the work by yourself alone. But also I love being able to, do the play again the next day and make it better.
You're right.
And make it better.
I didn't even
What I
think of
mean?
that aspect,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because with film and TV, you shoot the scene the one day, and inevitably you shoot the scene, you do it a few times, and everybody's happy and feels, and then I go home. And I'm going to bed. I'm about to fall asleep, and I think, oh, I should have done this.
Yeah.
I should have done this. But in doing theater, I can have those thoughts and then incorporate them the next time. Yeah.
I like
And just
that.
make it better and deeper, and yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
Now, one of my favorite things about you is your philanthropic work. I've seen you've been, involved with numerous charities, board member, and things like that.
Yeah.
Some of them, to name a few, I wrote them down, so I don't
you.
mix them up.
Please.
Figure skating in Harlem.
My baby.
Harlem Stage / The Gatehouse. God's Love We Deliver. And Hearts of Gold. So why is it such an important thing for you to be involved philanthropically?
Well, I think, first of all, because of my career and my notability and my public persona, I feel like if I can bring attention to a worthy cause, something that I think is important, and be able to support it in that way, then, it's my duty to do it.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's a responsibility. I feel like, and it's been said numerous times, so it's not my original idea, but, as we ascend, we must reach back and bring others with us, and so that's really why I do it. And my parents were my example for me, because they were very civic minded, and particularly my mother, and she was an activist, she was an advocate, she believed in doing what was right. And so, I come by it honestly.
Good.
And then I think if financially, if I'm blessed financially to be able to help, then I should do it.
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%. I know throughout my career, I always try to make it a priority, even post-career, to just be involved and help out, because you never know who you might inspire, what you might do that only took an hour of our time, but could change the trajectory of somebody else's life.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And you don't think, because I remember early on when I was, first getting a lot of attention, and the word role model was being thrown my way, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be a role model.
So much pressure.
It's so much pressure. I'm just a human being, blah, blah, blah. But, I get it, because, particularly in the African American community, we must have images for the kids to see.
Yes, indeed.
So that they know that they can too, and that truly was the most importance of Barack Obama's presidency. That my nieces and nephews,
you have something that you look at and say, I can achieve that. If he can do it, I can do that.
He's the president.
Yes.
And he looks like me. You know what I mean? So I feel now I take on the role as role model. I wear it a little more gracefully.
Right.
And it's like, okay. But I'm human.
No question. Now, you're rocking the Steelers hat. It's been very noted that you are a diehard Steelers fan.
Yes.
So, outside of myself, of course, who is your favorite Steelers player and why?
Outside of yourself. I will say, I mean, I'm going to go all the way back to when I was a kid, and Franco.
Ooh, yes.
I have to go back to the
Franco's
legacy
the man,
and
yes.
Franco, and of course, as we're saying, not just as, the incredible athlete that he was, but the incredible human being that he was and continues to be.
Yeah.
No so
question.
I will always hold Franco special in my heart.
Franco's the man.
He's the man.
Huge fan of Franco myself.
Huge fan.
Yes, indeed.
Huge fan. So that's I'm gonna leave it at that because
okay.
Present day, I don't want to get in no trouble because I love you all. I love you all.
All right. So my last question for you:
Mm-hmm.
You've acted, you've done directing and producing.
Mm-hmm.
Which do you prefer and why?
Interesting. Interesting. Because I came to producing only 10 years ago. So, later in my career than the acting and also the directing. And I love them all. But I'm going to have to say acting.
Acting, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say the acting. Even though I love producing, I love being able to, be part of pulling something together and, helping to be the engine behind the creative process that puts it out into the world. And, with directing, I love being able to realize, how I visualize something and bringing those pieces together in that way. But at the end of the day, it's going to be acting for me.
Okay.
It's going to be acting for me because I find that people, I'm just able to, through my art, move people, challenge them, make them think, make them have a conversation, make them walk in somebody's shoes with me who they may not have, and be able to come to an understanding in a way that they may not have, by seeing what I'm sharing with them as an actor. Okay. So I think that's what it is.
All right, I appreciate you. Well, hey, that was today's show. Tamara, can I thank you enough for coming on the show? And hey, if anyone wants to find more about what you're doing or follow you, where can they find you? Let the people know.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I have a website, tamaratunie.com. And also I'm on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and
active. I like
and Instagram. So you can find me on those. And all that's on my website. So if you go to tamaratunie.com, check it out. But let me just also add this. I'm hoping to be part of the Jazz Festival here in Pittsburgh in June. Okay. Yeah, because I sing, and I've been working on a CD. Okay. And I'm in the studio, and we're looking to launch it from the Jazz Festival here in the Burgh.
That's awesome.
In June.
And to even touch on your musical talents, you sung the national anthem at numerous professional games.
Yes,
and
indeed.
yes, I like that. I was like, okay.
At Heinz Field. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you this just before we close. I have been asked what has been the highlight of my career. Yeah. Okay? The highlight of my career. And I said, singing the national anthem at Heinz Field during a Veterans Day celebration. Yes. So I had the flyover. That's awesome. And my team was on the side just cheering me on. I was like, that is the highlight of my career. That's awesome. Okay. Go Steelers. Hashtag.
Yes, indeed.
Hashtag here we go.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you again. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's show. But until next time, peace.